Well, here we go. The much anticipated women's final between the top two seeds, Holly Naughton and Danielle Letourneau. Letourneau just on the left of your screen there. And here's their route through to this final. Naughton a 3-love win against Nikki Todd in her semi-final. And then Letourneau also 3-love against Nicole Bunyan. So it's the final most people were expecting, I think. These two are the best Canadian squash players by a margin at the minute, certainly in terms of ranking. So Letourneau in the pink, 28 years old, from Calgary. She's a former Canadian champion, having won this event in 2018. Resides in Cairo and recently broke into the top 20, currently ranked 19 in the world. Best results this year include last 16 at the Egyptian Open and the British Open. She is a graduate of Cornell University and a long-serving member of Team Canada, having represented Canada at both Pan Am Games and no less than 3 World Team Championships. And as we saw, a 3-love win against Bunyan last night to make it into this final. And she is up against our top seed, Holly Naughton. Just turned 27, from Toronto, but also from the UK, Barnsley, north of England. She's a 2-time former winner of this event. That was back in 2016 and 2017, and spends a lot of her time in the UK these days at Pontefract Squash Club. She's the current number 17 in the world. That's her highest ranking to date, and is really starting to gain some ground on the top players. Great win against Salma Hani in round 2 of the US Open earlier this month, and made it through to the last 16 at the World Championships in Chicago earlier this season. Canadian team member at both Pan Am Games and World Team Championships since 2014. And she came through against her good friend Nikki Todd in last night's semi-final. So joining me for this women's final, former world number 23 and 4-time winner of this event, Samantha Cornett. Sam, nice to have you back.
Nice to be back.
Well, this is the big match. This is the one everyone's been waiting for. I'm really looking forward to this one. Very close in ranking. There's their head-to-head. So 7 meetings. That's just PSA meetings. 5-2 to Naughton. So slight advantage for Holly in terms of their head-to-head. But this is a big match. Extra bit of pressure maybe on the number 1 seed. It's going to be really interesting.
Holly Naughton of Canada to serve, Danielle Letourneau of Canada to receive. Best of 5
I don't know if
games.
it mentioned on that head-to-head, but the number of times these two have gone to 5, I think it's a lot.
Love all.
I think when I had a look earlier, I think the last time they played even was went to 5. Well, that is very promising for the crowd. I'm sure they would love that. Well, I'm sure there'll be some early nerves in this match. It's a big deal. These girls are used to performing on the big stage in big tournaments, but it's different, isn't it, playing in a national championship? You know a lot of people in the crowd. There's a lot of expectation on this match. They haven't had the chance to perform in front of the home crowd for a long time, so there's all these factors that come into it. Who do you think mentally is better at dealing, or possibly could be better at dealing with this sort of occasion?
I know I think that's something they've both been working on quite hard. I've noticed big changes in both players in terms of their approach and their capacity for dealing with high pressure situations. I've noticed Holly especially has changed a lot in that respect, and Danielle as well. I did see Danielle look a bit rattled last night, so I'm curious to see what happens today, see who shows up between both of them today with a big crowd here.
Yeah, I didn't feel like Naughton was particularly happy with her match either against Todd, who was really just going for broke and hitting some very, very good shots. It's tough to play against someone who's playing that freely, but she does have a tendency to be quite hard on herself, which isn't necessarily a bad characteristic to have as a player. Obviously, that's the thing that drives you, gets you up every morning, putting the work in, but I think it's something that sort of needs to be managed and reined in at times, otherwise it can have the opposite effect and actually become quite bad for your performances if you're too hard on yourself.
Agreed.
Hand out, 3-all.
It's always a balancing act with everything on there.
Four, 3.
Nice little bounce
Hand out,
in that
4-all.
back corner. We've seen quite a few of those. If you can just catch the angle with the cross court.
Would you say, based on what you're seeing here, that the bounce on this court is quite standard for a glass court?
Yeah, it's a pretty true glass court.
Yeah.
It's not really fast or not too dead either. Quite a fast front wall, but slows down into those back corners. Nice, really nice court, looks like to me. And from what the players have said, I feel like everyone's enjoyed playing on it.
Yeah.
Hand out, 5-4.
That was a lovely little combination there from Holly.
5-all.
Just came down on that first one for the low kill, forced the weak shot, and then nicely weighted down the wall.
Out. Hand out, 6-5.
Nice lift. Just
7-5.
possibly needed to ask for the let there. She was sort of knocked off balance on her way through. It's always good to see players going through and trying to play the ball, but she sort of...
Sometimes it backfires.
Yeah, exactly. Good defensive play.
Wow.
Both players lifting really well.
That's a great strength of both of theirs.
Hand out.
And not only that initial lob, both of them
6-7.
counter lob really well, and it can be devastating
Yeah.
when I hit a great lob and then I'm hoping, for a looser shot and they just punch it back high. It's
Yeah.
terrible to retrieve that. And it takes a lot of skill to get it up, over, and
Yeah.
around someone's racket on
Yeah.
the counter lob.
Yeah, it's a very good weapon to have.
Yeah.
Well, Letourneau out of nowhere
9-6.
opens up a 3-point lead.
Up.
Yeah, again,
Hand out,
combination with the
7-9.
lift. And then a clever little cross-court drop as well. Oh, that was a bit ambitious. That was not a bad serve from Holly. I feel like Letourneau had already made the decision she was going to go for that.
She pulled off a few last night, so she's probably feeling quite confident with them.
Yeah. Lovely angle.
Wow.
Oh, again, Letourneau, she was on the back foot in that rally.
And
Got one chance and took it. Good defensive play.
Hand out.
So
9-10,
Naughton
game
pulls
ball.
one game ball back. Still one remaining for Letourneau.
Ooh. What a rally.
Brilliant.
10-all, a player must win by 2 points. Each player has one
Fantastic
review
squash in
available.
this first game. Did really well to get that drop back. Forced the error from Letourneau and forces a tie break. What a first game this is.
She's going to regret that drop if she drops this game. Oof.
Oh,
Great
fantastic
length.
shot. Look at that. That is so difficult to do
11-10,
on a
game
quick
ball.
volley like that, to get that line. Has to shorten the backswing, get that racket head speed through. She made that look very easy. So Naughton earns herself a game ball. Oh, again, lovely lift. There's so much going
Hand
on
out.
from
11
both
all.
of these players. So much variation.
They both look really dialed in. No slow starting here, right from the start. Wow.
Down. 12-11, game ball.
So one more game ball for Letourneau.
That's a pretty uncharacteristic error, I would say. I don't think I would see her hit an error from the back very often.
Down.
That's in the tin.
Hand out.
Oh.
12 all.
I thought that hit the tin. I was wrong. So back level, 12 all. Yeah, came down on it. She knew she needed to shorten that backswing and get that ball bouncing
13-12, game
twice
ball.
very early. Really clever shot that.
Hard to hit.
Hand out. 13
This is
all.
quality squash. Wow.
Huge first game between these two, both playing absolutely brilliantly. Oh, the half volley again, so difficult to execute
Hand
that.
out. 14-13,
The ball's
game
right
ball.
at her feet, still manages to control it. Game ball Naughton. And there it is.
Wow.
What a finish.
15-13,
Great.
game to Naughton.
Brilliant
Naughton
finish to a
leads 1 game to
superb
0.
first game. So 12-minute first game, squash of the highest order from both players. Naughton takes it 15-13 and she leads by 1 game to love.
I mean, this first game was everything we could all have hoped for in a final. I hope the crowd gets really loud here because, I mean, 2 players in the top 20 from Canada. This is what you know, everyone wants to see. Everyone wants to see squash like this. We've all been waiting for this final. Winners all over the place, really well built rallies, pretty low error count, and I hope we see more of the same, and I can only hope for 5 games, I have to be honest.